I want to talk a little bit about the gripping and how one grips a European sword and how the sword moves within that grip. I'm not saying that my method is perfectly super awesome, right, all the time, absolutely historically accurate. I don't know. I'm going to show you what I do, what works for me, and my theories, thoughts, and feelings behind how to grip a single-handed European sword. Okay. Basic grips. People talk about hammer grip and the handshake grip, which can be like this, or like that, fingering the guard, okay? Because the handshake comes in like that, right? I find the handshake grip to be pretty uncomfortable for most single-handed swords, especially ones that have shorter grips, like this one, which this is about a 4-inch grip. Okay, so there's a third grip that they talk about. Someone talking about Viking swords called the slip pommel. Now, the reason we talk about this is you can see this pommel is pretty large. And if you imagine that it's got like a Brazil nut pommel, you know, which may be shaped about like that. Some people have the problem when they swing, they bind up on the pommel like that. And if that was a Brazil nut pommel, you could see that the point would be digging into my wrist, and that could be pretty painful. Okay? But obviously, this sort of a grip length is well suited to a hammer grip style grip. Whereas with a handshake grip, you're going to kind of run right off that. You need more room, so you need a sort of a longer grip. So handshake is, better for like two-handed swords, right? But the problem is, though, this hammer grip isn't really all that versatile. People have problems with it. They get that pommel digging into them. They get this part gets real. This part of their hand, this palm, the heel of their palm here gets real sore, and it's because when they extend their sword and the wrist extends, bam, that pommel hits right there. And this pommel is more than just a counterweight. It's a pendulum. It helps to add force to the sword. It does a lot of things for the sword, mechanically, structurally, physically speaking. So having that sucker slam into your wrist, that hurts. What you want to do is you want to extend your hand so that the pommel passes inside of this point right here, okay? So instead of stopping here, it goes like that, okay? Now, to do that, you got to grip a little bit differently. In katana, and I think maybe longsword too, but when you're in Japanese swordsmanship for sure, they teach you to grab with the pinky first, and then the ring finger, and then the middle finger, and then the first finger, and with decreasing firmness as you go from your pinky up to your index finger, so that your index finger and your ring finger are just kind of there, right? And that's great for what they do. That's exactly the way you should grip your sword when you're gripping a katana. Okay? But a single-handed European sword works differently. What I do is I grip with my middle two fingers primarily. Okay? It's almost like this. I have a very relaxed grip with my pinky and a relaxed grip with my forefinger. This allows the pommel to slide over to the butt of my thumb and stop there. And it kind of ends up in something kind of like a handshake grip. Not exactly, because a handshake grip should, really be like that. Like I said, you don't really have room for a handshake grip unless you're way back on the end like this, okay? So if you've got a really short grip, like some of these Viking swords have like 3.5, 3 1/4 inch, you actually can wrap your pinky around the pommel like so. And you still basically grip the same way, okay? But you can use your pinky to boom to kick that pommel. Okay? See that action there? That's if you have a Viking or a Norman sword with a really short grip. You know, I mean, you can see I've got a good inch and a half sticking up above there. So that'd be good for like even a 3-inch grip. You could put your pinky down on the pommel, and you can get that little bit extra torque. Snap, snap. Okay, really kicks that sucker out there, and that's what those lozenge shape, Brazil nut shaped pommels are good for. They give you lots of room to put those extra fingers on to get that leverage to really snap it, like that. With this sword and with those swords, the thing is, this pommel could be this wide. It could be huge, and it'll just slide right past. Let me do it this way. Better yet. Let's see. Okay, try not to hit the camera. See that? There we go. That's what we'll do. Okay. There it is. It's not jamming there because the pommel isn't in line with my forearm. It's actually off to the side just a little. It's parallel, okay, but it's off to the side just a little bit, okay. That allows that pommel to slip past, and it won't dig into you. Okay, you can see where that sits, right? So if you've got a Hanway Tinker Norman sword, or if you've got a Viking sword, and you're hurting your wrist with it, because you're doing like this, what you want to do is you want to relax your grip with your pinky, relax the grip with your index finger, and let it slip right past, like that. A little bit more like that. There's the action. So not this, wrong, right. That gives you a little bit more extension. That lets the pommel act like a pendulum. It'll add power to your swing. It'll be nice and smooth, and you won't hurt yourself.